Let's talk Tanya for the 16th of Sivan of a leap year. Today's Tanya is going to be chapter 5 of Sharichud V'Emunah. And as I mentioned yesterday, we are discussing some parenthetical ideas related to the larger concepts that we are talking about over here. So we've talked about there is Havaya or Chesed, which is God's creative energy. And then there is Elokim, Gevura, which is the power of concealment. And based on our discussion up until this point, now we can make sense out of what seems to be a bizarre statement by our sages. We know that the Torah begins with the words Bereshis bara Elokim, which means that in the beginning God created, but the name that's used over there is Elokim. Why Elokim? We know in the Torah the name Havaya is more common. So our sages tell us that originally when God created the world, his original intention was that he wanted to create the world entirely with Elokim, with Midas Hadin, with Gevura, with which most of us translate as severity. But Ra She'eino Eila Miskayim, God realized the world is not going to be able to tolerate that. The world won't last if it's entirely governed by Midas Hadin, by the attribute of severity. So instead, what did God do? So Shitef Imoy Midas Harachmim, he put in also some compassion over there. And that's why later on the verse says, B'yoyim asois Hashem Elokim Shmayim Va'aretz, on the day when heaven and earth was created by Havaya Elokim. Now we have both of them together. Now this is strange. Can you imagine? God is contemplating creating all of creation, the universe, and he's like, I don't want any chesed, I don't want any kindness or mercy, I want only Midas Hadin. I want severity, justice. Is that the God that we imagine? Is that the God that we envision? Why is it that God originally wanted that the world should be created only with Midas Hadin? But now we understand what that means. What it means is that originally when God created the world, his intention was the world should be created only with Elokim, meaning he wanted that the concealment of him and his creative energy should be absolute. Why? Because ultimately, why did God create a world? He wanted a world of concealment. He wanted a world where he isn't present and isn't in a revealed way. And nevertheless, we have the free choice and we elevate the world, sanctify the world, refine the world, etc. But what did God see? He realized that if there's absolutely no revelation whatsoever, we would perish in the darkness. The darkness would be too absolute. We wouldn't be able to do the work. We wouldn't be able to serve him. So what did he do? He adds in some compassion, some mercy, some kindness. In what form? Alter Rebbe says that is tzaddikim. In every single generation, there are tzaddikim, and tzaddikim, in their very personhood, they constitute a revelation of godliness. We look at a tzaddik and we're able to perceive godliness. And also, oiseis umoifsim shebetorah, the miracles that are described in the Torah. Those are the cracks. Yes, this world is a world that is characterized by Elokim, by Gevura, by concealment. But God realized he had to put some cracks and some light had to filter in, and the light takes on those two forms of tzaddikim and the miracles of the Torah. While we're on the topic of tzaddikim also raise another interesting question, which is, we explained in yesterday's Tanya that we live in a world where, because of the influence of the name of Elokim, there actually is a world of concealment. And our job over here in this world is to elevate the world through Torah and mitzvahs. But what about the greatest of tzaddikim? Do they experience concealment? And if they don't experience concealment, if their neshamas, if their souls come from the area or from a level or realm which is beyond concealment of revealed godliness, then what purpose is there in them learning Torah and doing mitzvahs? So that's why over here the Alter Rebbe tells us that even the greatest of the great, Moshe Rabbeinu, and where was Moshe's greatness manifest and expressed? In the fact that he was the greatest prophet. He had the greatest revelation of godliness. There was no prophet ever greater than Moshe, not before him and not after him. Nevertheless, if you look in Kabbalah, we see that Moshe Rabbeinu's prophecy only extended to the world of Bria. The world of Bria, the world of creation. Not the world of Atzilus, essentially. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu was not able to grasp the world of Atzilus as it is on its own, which tells us that even the greatest of tzaddikim, even Moshe Rabbeinu, also experienced some concealment. Because after all, in the world of Bria and creation, there is concealment, which is why it is a creation, and that's why Torah and mitzvahs is for everyone, even for the greatest of tzaddikim. With this, we have concluded the parenthetical ideas. Tomorrow, we will be starting chapter 6, and tomorrow we will continue our conversation about the names of Havaya and Elohim and their interplay with each other.